So Shabbat morning, I was sitting at home and obviously I wasn't able to go to shul. And I was thinking, what's the point of me praying, davening? I can't go to shul. But obviously, as I'm a rabbi, I didn't really have much choice. So sat with my son and we prayed at home by the dining room table. But I thought to myself, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel good not being able to go to shul. We prayed. And then after praying, I was looking through the Parsha, the Torah portion of the week, Vayakel Pekudei, and I saw something very interesting that gave me a lot of inspiration, which I wanted to share with you. Because in last week's Parsha, the verse says that the Jewish people brought the Mishkan, the tabernacle, to Moses, the finished product. And yet the Medrash, part of the oral tradition, tells us that the Jewish people were trying to put the boards of the tabernacle together. But the boards were so heavy, it was very, very difficult for them to put the Mishkan together. So they had to come to Moses and they said, look, we can't do it. We just can't do it. We need your help. And Moses, miraculously, was able to put the Mishkan together, the tabernacle. So the question is, if that's true, why does the verse in the Torah say that the Jewish people brought the Mishkan, the tabernacle, to Moses? They didn't. They only brought the unfinished boards to him, which he then put together. So it's interesting. The Medrash then continues and says the following, brings another story about Rabbi Edwards. Rabbi Edwards was one of the sages mentioned throughout the Talmud. And it tells the following story about Rabbi Edwards. It says the following. It says that just as he was about to die, God shows Rabbi Edwards the reward he's about to get in the world to come. And he looks at his reward and he says, oh my gosh, I'm going to get so much reward. That's amazing. What does it mean? He knew what reward he was going to get. He knew that he had done lots of Torah learning, lots of mitzvot, lots of chesed. So why was he so amazed that when he was shown the reward he was going to get? Why was he so surprised that he says, oh my gosh, look at all the reward I'm going to get? So a sort of fascinating answer given the name of somebody called Shlomo Breuer. Shlomo Breuer was a German rabbi, lived in the late 19th century, and he says like this, a very, very important answer. He says that Judaism is not a religion of sentiment, it's a religion of deed. It's not enough for a person to say, I'm a Jew at heart. I feel Jewish. I don't do anything Jewish, but I feel very Jewish. No, Judaism is a religion which you have to do. You have to pray, you have to learn, you have to be kind, you have to be nice to people, you have to give charity, you have to keep Shabbat, you have to do the festivals. There's a lot of things you have to do, and that is Judaism. It's not a religion of sentiment, it's a religion of deed. However, on the other hand, he says, there's another aspect, is that if sometimes a person wants to do something good, and he really has every intention of doing so, but sometimes due to circumstances beyond his control, he's prevented from doing so. Genuinely, he really, really wants to do something, but due to mitigating circumstances, he's just not able to do so. In such a circumstance, then it's considered as if he has done that mitzvah, he's done that act. And that's a Jewish concept. And that's what happened with Rabbi Edwards. He looks at his rewards and he says, oh my gosh, all those times I wanted to do something and I wasn't able to do so due to circumstances beyond my control. I never realized I was going to be rewarded for those. And now I see that I am. And that's why that story, the Medrash brings that story to connect it to last week's Parsha. Because the Jewish people, we're told, wanted to build the tabernacle, but they couldn't. They really couldn't. The veins in their heads were straining because they wanted to put up the mission, but they couldn't. So they bring the boards to Moses and he puts it together. But they didn't build it. They didn't bring it to Moses. And yet the verse says they brought the Mishkan to the tabernacle to Moses. Because the verse considers it, because they really wanted to, because they tried their utmost, but due to circumstances beyond their control, they couldn't. The Torah views it as if they did. As if they did. So this is what I was thinking. After I saw that, I was thinking the following. We're living in, as we all know, unprecedented times. And for all the things that we can still do. And look, we can still do a lot. We can still do a lot of kindness to those around us and in our community. We can help those who need our help. And we can still pray by ourselves. We can still put on our tefillin. We can still keep Shabbat. We can still keep kosher. And we can still, there's a lot we can do. We can still learn. We can still join the online community with Seed. And there's going to be a lot of classes that we can still join. There's a lot we can do. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot we can do. But there's going to be a lot that we cannot do. We cannot go to shul. For many of us, that's going to be very difficult. We cannot go to learning classes with a group, and that's going to be very difficult. For many of us, we're going to be spending Seder night by ourselves or with very small groups, not with our parents, not with our grandparents, not with the extended community. It's going to be very, very hard. It's going to be a lot that we cannot do. It's going to be very difficult to observe Judaism by ourselves without the support of friends, without the support of family, without the intimate support of our community. The message is we have to try. And if we try, and we genuinely want to try, and we genuinely do our best, but due to mitigating circumstances beyond our control, we just can't. We just can't. And these are extenuating circumstances that we've never experienced in any of our lifetimes. We just can't. Nevertheless, we shouldn't feel disheartened because Judaism believes and views it as if we have done it. As if we have done it. We're not at a loss. In a spiritual level, we have not lost out. That's what the verse tells us. The Jewish people tried their best. And the verse says they brought the Mishkan, the tabernacle, to God himself. They brought it, but they didn't. No, but they did. They did. And that's what made me feel better this Shabbat morning as I was sitting in my living room praying, not with a million, not in shul, not with all you fine people together. And that's what it's going to have to be. We're going to have to try our best. Plenty we still can do. There's going to be things that we cannot do. I wish you all strength, fortitude over the coming weeks and months, good health, obviously, to you and all your loved ones, to all the family and friends that are hopefully watching this. There's going to be lots that we can do, lots that we can't. We've got to keep going, take the shining lights that we can still see, and stay strong, be well, and let's keep going. Take care.